And welcome back to another episode of Trinity Road Tape. Today we are on the men's basketball side, been on the women's basketball side for the last two episodes. Wanted to check back in on the men and look at some defensive rotation tape. This is a team that has not had a great half-court offense, and a lot of the focus has been on the half-court offense. If you've read the site at all recently, you know there's been a lot written about that. Mostly just because I like offense more than defense, but definitely State has struggled in the half-court defensively as well. And we're going to look at some reasons why I think that might be the case from this Virginia Tech game. I did not make this video specifically to call out either of the players that happen to appear in these examples. I actually think they're two of the better defenders that State has had this year. They just happen to be in the examples. But this is from the Virginia Tech game. And it's early on. It's only 3-0. This is the second possession for Virginia Tech. And they're bringing the ball up the court after a miss. And they're going to run a very, very simple look here with just a drag screen from their five right there. That's Poteet. And this is their guard who's just going to run basically high pick and roll with a drag screen and a spread look. So something very, very simple. And State doesn't cover it well. So let's take a look at what happens here exactly. So here's your drag screen, right? It's just a ball screen in transition. You're going to have 10 over on this side, and then you're going to have these two guys here, just kind of a spread look. It looks like they want to get into kind of like a pin down here, maybe a flare screen you might call that, but they don't, and I'll show you why. So O'Connell's going to fight over this screen. And Ben Middlebrooks down here is going to play drop coverage. And then their guard is obviously going to use the ball screen. And it's not pick and roll. Poteet here, their five, is actually going to pop out to the point. So it's pick and pop here. And Poteet there has played 5 years now of college basketball and has never made a three-pointer. He's a 0% career three-point shooter. So that's going to be really noteworthy here when they run pick and pop. So let's see this start to develop. And so O'Connell kind of on the hip there coming over the screen. And you've got Middlebrooks there in drop coverage. And then you've got a 0% three-point shooter popping out. So you can see here it kind of looks like Virginia Tech wanted to get into this kind of like pin screen look with this maybe like shake to the ball. But none of that's going to happen because Middlebrooks is actually going to fade back toward his man here instead of staying in drop coverage on the ball. And it's going to create a huge driving lane right here. And again, this is not somebody that matters in this situation right here. This is a guy that you don't care about because he's not going to shoot a three-pointer. So if we watch this develop from here, you see Middlebrooks works back toward the middle of the floor, almost like he's recovering to his man. O'Connell is beat, and that's going to force Styles to stay here in help side, which is going to create a situation over here where you've basically got a 2-on-1, and the ball is going to move around here ahead of State's rotation. So Styles has to help. And now you're kicking the ball to the corner against a much better three-point shooter. Jaden Taylor has to close that out. An easy extra pass here to number 3. And then Middlebrooks has to try and go close that out. He does an admirable job, but State deep in rotation there. And for no real reason. Again, that is not a guy that's going to scare you in pick and pop. And so you're leaving to protect that and basically giving a wide open driving lane to the basket. Just a matter of kind of knowing the scouting report and knowing where you need to be and what can beat you. And that's something that they didn't do a great job of in this game. We'll jump ahead to the second example here. This is a little bit later in the game. And Virginia Tech is going to get into a dummy zoom action here with a basket cut. So we'll see them set this up. So now that they got this set up, here's what this is going to look like, right? So zoom action would be down screen, use the screen, curl into a DHO, come off the screen, right? So State runs this all the time. It's actually it's a dummy, and they're going to basket cut here and just run this into a DHO if that doesn't result in an easy basket. And Dennis Parker Jr., number 11 right there, is going to be the guy to pay attention to here. So they try to run this into the DHO, and Dennis Parker Jr. actually denies the ball. So he steps up here and he blocks this. So the DHO cannot initiate. So 5 is actually going to pass the ball to 3 here. I think that's 3, 2, whatever. And you're going to see Parker Jr. gamble a bit to try and get a deflection. And this is an interesting thing with Kevin Keats that's been talked about a lot is that element of the defense. And it's going to position Parker in a bad spot here. But I don't think that's what goes wrong on this play. And I think a lot of times that's the kind of thing that gets blamed for this, when in reality, this is really kind of just bad communication after that happens. This was a rescuable play. So you'll see this pass. Parker Jr. is going to gamble on it, gets a hand on it, but loses. Now you get your ball screen. Now you get Ishmael Diouf right here, who looks like he kind of wants to play like an at-the-level defense at first. And you've got Parker Jr. trying to recover to the ball. So Parker Jr. is going to run right into the screen, and then he's going to try and fight underneath it. So let's run from here. So you see he runs right into the screen, and now you've got Ishmael Diouf right here. And what's important about this is that this guy right here has taken 133 shots this year, 107 of them from 3. He does one thing. So what you can't do is you can't go under a ball screen against a guy like this, right? 36% shooter, he's decent, but it's scouting report on him is you know what it is. So Parker can't really go under this ball screen. And when he gets caught here and can't get over it to chase, you just need to call a switch here. State doesn't usually switch ball screens involving the 5, but in this scenario, you need to call for a switch. And you can have this matchup and then this matchup, because that's going to be better for you than what happens next. Parker Jr. tries to recover from under the ball screen, and Diouf is going to sink down, and it's just going to give up a wide open 3. So he actually does get fouled right there. No one called that, but you can see Diouf is sinking down there because he needs to protect from on the roll as well. And so you've got Parker Jr. recovering under, and there's just way too much space here for a pure shooter. You can't go under the ball screen, and if you do, you got to have a different solution. And yeah, I mean, open shot, open look, buries it. And it's just a defense that's a little bit disconnected. You saw this in the second half of the Virginia game. You saw it in this game. They're not bad on every possession. I don't think they're really poor guarding the ball. They're fine. There's some guys that are better than others. But this is the kind of the little detail thing that I think is affecting a lot of these outcomes. And this is a team I think that's played 5, 6 one-possession games, some extremely large number like that. The details win and lose those games, and going under ball screens, getting caught under ball screens, and not switching, like that's the kind of thing that can swing the outcome of a one-possession game. And State actually did the similar thing at the end of the game on one of the 3s that I think cut it to a one-possession game way late in the game, getting caught under a ball screen against a shooter. So, communication and execution of half-court principles really stands out as one of the things I think they need to get better at as the year goes